What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Offspring, and we're going back to their 1994 album Smash, which was absolutely a smash hit. Many of you will know this is an album that, along with Green Day's Dookie and a couple others, or Dookie if you prefer, I've heard it said both ways. It's one of those albums that really propelled punk rock music into the mainstream, musical, cultural consciousness. It's an album that, I had already been listening to them for an album before, and I actually think, to this day, I still prefer Ignition slightly more than this album, but I do get why this was a massive hit, and a number of the songs, are just not only, good sonically, but they have, interesting either messages, as in this case, or, craft, psychologically problematic, yet, realistic and compelling psychological dramas like Self-Esteem, track I did already react to, and I talked a lot at the beginning, so sorry about that. I'll try to be brief in this case. This is a tune called It'll Be a Long Time. Number one, again, the sonics are fantastic. It just has that fast, the sound I associate with early Offspring. It's that kind of sound par excellence. It's just a real classic manifestation or exemplification of the sound that I associate with them, which is that fast kind of hardcore punk sound, but in a 90s sort of idiom, not in a sort of 80s sound. So in any case, it's a tune, it feels like this could not be more appropriate. I mean, I guess that's the point. The point of the song really is that throughout human history, and you can go back so many days, and yet they're all just the same one day, where leaders, people who sort of, seize power and try to control others and dictate what should be done. So in the modern sort of cultural or historical paradigm, we're talking nation states and the leaders of, nations and sort of governments, and the way in which their sort of, avarice, their ambition, their sort of ego leads them into conflict, which sends normal people to war, which sends bombs down onto regular citizens, which, leads to the sanctioning, and thus, sanctions being passed down from the government who they're trying to affect onto the citizens of that country who are, just trying to get something to eat, and so on. It's just one of those things where the song speaks to the way in which brutal leaders sort of dictate the brutalities and miseries for common citizens going back time immemorium around the world and surely right on into the future. So that's, when it's when will humans listen to reason? When will we, just kind of chill out and, just let each other be free and not try to impose our will on other people and so on? Well, when the leaders give up their ambition and their avarice and their sort of ego. And when's that going to be? Not for a fucking long time. So, it's a song that, again, it's not it's written differently than maybe a Bad Religion song would be, but I think it gets at a lot of the same issues that a Bad Religion song would get at, which of course many of you will know. This is on Epitaph. Some of their early albums were on Epitaph. I don't know, in recent times I'm not sure who they've been distributed by, because I haven't followed them since maybe the end of the 90s, which, as I've said before, is not a knock on Offspring. It's just, there's so many things going on in my music life, and by the end of the 90s I was playing rave parties, and I was still going to punk shows, but in a more limited capacity, so I just didn't end up following them. But again, they're on Epitaph, and it's not surprising, that someone like Brett Gurewitz would hear this kind of material and the material on Ignition and be like, you know what, that's really cool, let's produce them, let's sign them. So in any case, let's get to it. This is the Offspring, It'll Be a Long Time, from their 1994 album Smash. All the time went on the way, so many days it was. Back and forth, we would swing, back in it all it does. Silver pounds, black bellies, all the world of love and strings. Eagles will be, what cities will be, it's always the way it goes. And we'll do what a centuries, and I ain't feeling it'll be a long time. We will the truth come in the season. I remember that sort of vocal flair and sort of like what's the word for it? It's sort of like a dissonant sort of vocal extension. But I thought it like was each time at the end of the chorus, but I was wrong. It was like just at the end. But yeah, bottom line, I didn't remember that slow down speed up until it began happening. But really cool sonically. As I said, it has this kind of thrashy, sort of hardcore punk sound, but again, different than say the hardcore punk of the early '80s, the Dead Kennedys, Subhumans, and so on. But yeah, I really enjoy it. It's one of my favorites on the album. Indeed, like I reacted to Self-Esteem, I think first. Is that the first one I did from this album? I think so. I think I had done only Ignition tunes before that. And that one was again sort of like a personal connection, so I felt like I had to do that one first. But sonically, that might be my favorite on the album. I really do enjoy it a lot. So yeah, bottom line, I think I've reacted to only 2 of the tracks on the album, so shout it out if there's any other track on this album you'd like to see a reaction to. And yeah, I may go back to do some more tunes on Ignition, because as I said, that one is probably my favorite Offspring album to this day. And I think I've only done like 3 or 4 on that album, so yeah, we'll go back for more. Do let me know what you think of this one. I'll see you next time. Peace.